Okay.
Okay, so it looks like it's officially recording. So my name's Jacob Larson. I've got a web blog that I do. It's at larsonsblog.com, and I'm invited a friend of mine to come and do this with me. I've never done anything like this before, so technically it's been kind of a difficult thing to figure out. Neither one of us are very technologically, savvy. But her name's Leta Sellers, and she's a longtime friend. Leta actually used to be, you worked in the front office at the school I went to, my high school.
Correct.
What was your job title there?
Well, I was officially the attendance secretary, which meant all the excuses came by me.
The attendant secretary. So
Right.
yeah, so a lot of the students that went to my high school got to know Lita pretty well. She was one of the nicest, nicer ladies in the office, or at least she was to me. I know that there's some that don't, but to me she was really good. And then we came across each other on Facebook, and we are politically polarized. I mean, we're on the opposite side of the spectrum, and for the longest time, people haven't quite figured out how it is that we get along, because I'm conservative. I wouldn't say that I'm far right conservative, but I am conservative. You are liberal, considered liberal, but you're not really far right liberal either.
Left liberal.
Yeah, so far left liberal, excuse me.
Right.
So
That's okay.
So, I mean, it's been one of those things where, I mean, we've gone round and round online quite a few times. I refer to you as my arch nemesis,
And toots.
and Toots. Yeah.
Don't leave
Well,
out toots.
that's your nickname. So, but for the longest time, people haven't quite understood, how it is that we can, you know, battle online or go at each other so much online, and yet still remain friends, and still talk and still care about each other and still look out for each other and stuff like that. And that was kind of what we wanted to talk about today. I mean, especially with how polarized everything is in the country, and with especially with this last election and things like that. And so yeah, we just wanted to kind of come together and kind of talk about what works for us and why it works, and kind of go from there. So,
I like it.
so what are your thoughts? Why is it, in your opinion, that we do okay?
You and I,
Yeah.
uh, because we started that way, and through the years, I would say, even through the issues, shall we say, that we have established a trust with each other that has never been broken, that I know of, and I do believe in some of our talks. I think some of the folks that hear us don't realize we have had a friendship offline as well, and we talk there as well, and we have come to a lot of more agreements that it may seem like online, and we might be closer in some of our beliefs.
Yeah, and that, yeah, we've got some rules. I mean, obviously the number one rule we both agreed on was, no family. You don't cross
Right.
that thing. You don't bring up family in a discussion and anything like that. And like you said, I mean, yeah, I mean, when um a lot of times people don't realize, I mean, we're running a thread, we're working a thread together. Um, but sometimes, depending on the thread, I mean, we have a conversation going on through private messenger, where we're going, hey, why did you say that? Why are you doing this? Blah, blah,
Good
blah.
point.
And we're able to kind of work it out. And I agree. I think that in um a lot of ways, we've had discussions and about different subjects and stuff like that. And we have found that we do have common ground, more so than than in being in opposition with each other. So
You know,
Um,
too, Jacob, I think too, I don't remember how many years ago it was, you had your radio show. And that was when you and I were first becoming talkative with each other online. And then as we got to know each other, you did have me on the show a couple of times, and we were able to hash some things up then. And again, I think the key word between us is respect. We respect each other, even if
yeah,
we don't agree.
yeah, and I agree. And the other thing is, I mean, I don't think that I don't think that either one of us have ever taken, you know, the banter and the exchanges. I mean, because I mean, when you're doing banter and exchanges online, I mean, occasionally, you know, we will throw a jab at each other and stuff like that, but it's not it's not personally directed. We don't take it personal, you know. And I mean, one of those things, I mean, you know, I know that there's been a couple times where, you know, we've each have had our feelings hurt on something, and but when that happens, you know, we apologize and we're
We've
like,
sorted it out.
yeah, I mean, it's like we're like, hey, okay, yeah, I got a little intense on that one, you know, and I apologize, and you know, and we move on, and so I think that I think that's important. I mean, not just you know, within our relationship, but I think in relationships in general. I mean, having that ability to go, hey, yeah, I messed up, I made a mistake, sorry. Um, and having the other person realize that, you know, we're human, we make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. Um, and it's not a detrimental thing. So, so yeah,
That made me think of something right there. And I think too, what works, where sometimes I think we all get on Facebook and we all are hot under the collar and we all want to make our point and whatnot, and we don't often know the other person. So it gets, I think social media has made it very easy to be disrespectful and with name calling, all sorts of things very impolite things that you would never do probably to someone face to face. And I think because you and I have that ability to, we talk behind the scenes and whatnot, it's like I am talking to your face. And I've over the years, it wasn't always so, but over the years, I've certainly tried to, pretend I really am talking to you, not at you. And
right.
and I think that makes a huge difference. If people, I think that's the problem nowadays. We're on social media, we don't know each other, and we just feel free to say things we wouldn't ordinarily say to someone if you were talking in person.
Well, and they're not thinking about, they're not thinking past the issue or thinking past what's being discussed about the individual on the other end of the screen. It's like, you know, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I hammer people, you know, just as much as the next guy. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you got to look at it from a standpoint of, you know, why are they approaching it this way? Why are they talking this way? Why are they, you know, doing it that way? And then try to figure out, you know, if it's something on your end or their end. I mean, there's some people that, you know, it doesn't matter how you try to engage, it's simply going to go down that road. Um, and then some that, you know, you can kind of, you can change it, you know, put it in a different direction, refocus it, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, and there's also the issue too of we don't know what the other person's life experiences have been. You haven't walked in my shoes, I haven't walked in your shoes. I don't know about how you were raised, or you don't know how I was raised, and that our heredity really brings a lot to it. The environment and heredity. I once did a debate on that, and I still don't know which I think is more important. Gene pool or surrounding elements.
well, and it is actually amazing, you know, because I've talked to you know, quite a number of friends in regards to that, in terms of how our own personal life trauma has affected our worldviews and our beliefs and how we go about doing things and stuff like that. And you and I mean, like I said, once again, behind the scenes have shared, you know, reasons why we think the way we do and why we operate the way we do. So we have more insight into each other when we talk and we engage online than most people realize, because it's not just random, you know, it's not just random throwing stuff out there. It's like we've actually, you know, we know a little bit more about each other, you know, than people
Exactly.
actually realize.
Well, like I said, we started that way, and we've certainly had our moments, but it's all been certainly wonderful. I think it's been a great friendship. I wouldn't, you're family to me, so.
And I think it's fun. I mean, I enjoy it. I like, one of the things that I've told people lots of times. It's like, I enjoy engaging with Leta because she's a fighter. She fights. She has strong beliefs, strong convictions. She's willing to fight. She keeps bringing it. She likes to counter. But she's not incapable of concession. I mean, there are times when you've conceded and times when I've conceded. It's like, it's like, okay, hey, we were wrong. I mean, if you like, for instance, when we post something and we don't look at the date, you know, how many times have we been bid on that? You post something and it's like 4 years old and you're like,
I
you're,
didn't see that.
you're like, what the heck? I was just using that to solidify my point, and it's outdated, you know.
Absolutely. And that makes me think too that I will say this, that I've certainly, you kept me on my toes and I've learned from you.
Yeah,
So
you gotta
I
look,
you.
gotta look.
So I've
So,
learned a lot of things.
but there is a lot of stuff that outside of the arguments and stuff online and stuff that we go back and forth. Like I said, behind the scenes when we're talking, we've realized there's a lot of things that we do have in common in terms of how we live and the things we like to do. You guys have guns and
Oh,
you like to shoot.
oh, I showed you, you got the picture I sent you today.
I know you were out
I,
shooting today.
yes, we were. And moi is coming along. So be ready.
Yeah. So, I
You're
mean,
coming out with us, I hope.
yeah, I said I would. That would be a blast. Yeah, but I mean, it's stuff like that. If I were to have simply engaged with you online and you know taken what said in terms of in terms of your political position or political belief, liberals typically don't have guns. I mean, they're not gun owners. I mean, that's the standard. So if I was to put you in that box and having never found that out before, I would have never known that you were shooting things with guns
And
flying
arrow.
over it and
And
arrows and
yeah,
all sorts of violence with weapons. I would have never known that.
it's a myth that liberals don't enjoy shooting their firearms. I know it's a bad rap, and I get it, but a lot of us do, and we
Yeah.
just kind of keep it quiet.
So yeah, I mean, there are things um, that we do have in common and we can relate on and we can enjoy. I mean, you like the outdoors as much as I do,
Absolutely.
um, things like that. And I was talking to somebody else, I said, um, this great divide, against liberals or with liberals and conservatives, it's we will all kind of want the same thing. We all kind of want the same things. I mean, it's just the approach, how we approach it, is somewhat, our idea of how to approach it is somewhat different. And that's where the conflict comes in, I think.
And and to add on to that, I not only so agree with you. I think that I didn't want to use the word sides here, but the two factions, conservative, liberal, I think there's just fear involved on both sides. We're afraid of each other. It's come to afraid of values, ideas, those types of things. And if we could ever get on I think a talking point on each one, and at least try to come to some understanding between, what does that person really mean? I think that would go a long way.
Well, you and I, behind the scenes, you and I are both in agreement when it comes to, Republicans and Democrats. I mean, those two political parties have been nightmare parties that
I
have done absolute devastation to, you know, to society. I mean, you know, set aside what's been going on now, but I mean, there's just been, we have long talked about how we need a third party. Um, and
agreed.
and the devastation behind those two. And I stopped being a Republican, or I switched my vote. back in the last term of George Bush. Um, so, and I switched it to an independent. And you said you've gone from Republican to Democrat, and now you're actually thinking on going independent also.
Absolutely. Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I just need to remember to do it. Just go down and get that little form and get
Yeah,
it done.
yeah, because it's the parties don't. It's I have conservative values, beliefs that I hold true to. The parties don't represent those. They're not staying true to those. And so for me, it's kind of like I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be on board with that. And based on our conversations, I think you have. That's what I mean when you say you're a liberal, but it's like you're not a far left liberal. I mean, that's not the way I see you anyway.
No, and the best way to describe me is I came from a working class family. I was working class, a wage earner, not salaried, which is that's fine. Sometimes there's very little difference between the two, but I guess the values of I watched my dad. He was a union steward, and some of the battles they waged at work just for equal, for overtime, for example, and that all stuck with me. And also when I was raised, my dad used to take us around. We lived in California, not far from the migrant camps where they picked the lettuce in Camarillo, California. And I saw firsthand how the people lived. And it's just, I am a tender heart, and I hate to see anyone living like that. So that,
Right.
that, that kind of forms some of my views as far as, what I'd like for other people, the things they might like to have that I've been lucky enough to have. And I wish everyone had that.
Yeah, and most conservatives, I mean, for a conservative sitting here listening to you say that, your dad being a hard worker all his life, that sort of thing. I mean, those are, in my brain, those are conservative values. We would want to promote that, and we would want to encourage that. And so,
Yep.
so I don't see, I see that as a positive thing, and it's definitely had impact on your life. But I mean, like this stuff that we have going on with the riots and the you got Antifa on one side, you've got the Proud Boys on the other, and some of the stuff, and you've got these clashes going on. I'm not in favor of that personally.
Me either.
Yeah, and you're
Absolutely not. Violence under any circumstances from any group is
yeah.
unacceptable.
I mean, I think that and we've both you know been in agreement on that too. I mean, behind the scenes, I mean, we've talked about it. It's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anytime you
It's sad.
have it's what?
It's sad
Yeah.
that it's come to this, but so
Yeah. I mean, I just we can disagree and we can argue and we can debate, and at the end of the day, I don't want any harm to come to you or your family or anybody you're around. I mean, like I said, I appreciate your view, your opinion. I want you to share it. I've encouraged you to do that. How many times have we both been like, I'm done with Facebook, I'm out of here, I'm not
I
doing
can
this
understand.
anymore?
And how many times have we talked about doing this very thing? And at first I was too chicken, and you
Yeah,
talked me to it finally, and now actually there's nothing to it.
it's
It's,
it's not.
modern technology is so weird. Just to sit here and see your face as I'm talking, and it's just really bizarre.
Well, and you have to remember, I mean, I'm not tech savvy either. I mean, so I mean, this is as rough as it gets on my end. So, you
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Well,
so I struggle with it too. And I'm sure once I post this, everybody and their brother will be giving me tips and insights and all this stuff.
oh, I'm sure. I can hardly wait. Hey, but listen, before we do end this, I did want to throw out some things, certainly for you and your family. I want to give a special shout out to your mom, Georgia, because I love her dearly. I don't have a mom anymore. And if she weren't so close to my age, I'd try and adopt her. But she's too close to my age. So, but I know that you may not know this about me, but I have several friends who are ill and have battled and still battling cancer. And I know you have some friends on your page. Some of them are mutual friends of both of us.
Yeah.
And of course, I'd like to just wish them well and know that they are not forgotten. I do say my prayers of a sort. Mine are probably a little different than some, but I do have them. And I just want everyone to have the best Thanksgiving they can during this COVID crisis. I know we're going to actually go out and play that day. I'm making turkey a day early, and I'm going to pack up the leftovers, and we're going to go out hiking and shooting
Awesome. Sounds great.
with our daughter and just the three of us, and be in the outdoors and celebrate that way. So I'm wishing everyone well, and especially you. You're loved. You're cherished.
Well, let's don't get weird, okay? Let's keep it real. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Thanksgiving's around the corner. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you spend time with your family. Now, for me, on my perspective, I think that you should have the biggest Thanksgiving dinner ever. I think that you should have 20, 30 people over, nobody wearing masks, everybody blowing COVID in each other's faces.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's for our next video.
We're going to do it. Okay. So you want to do more then?
Well, let's see how this one goes.
Well, let's see if I can get this thing uploaded, but
Yeah, let's see if everybody really laughs us out of the.
I know everybody will be like, I don't want to hear these guys anymore. This is
I know.
ridiculous.
We're gonna barf.
Exactly. They're going to be like, it's so rough, but whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Like we started out. We started as friends, and I fully expect we'll end. We're like family at the dining table on Thanksgiving, having the political arguments. Think about it.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I think it's great. I have fun. So
it is fun, and we always come back to our home base. We know where we come from, and who has our back.
That's right.
That's what the master. Who has your back?
That's right. I mean, I've had to delete people on my side. You've had to delete people on your side. It's like, how many times do we send each other a message like, hey, you need to get that guy under control because this isn't cool. And you'd be like, yeah, you shut him down. Or I've had, it's like, no, you can't talk to Leta that way. I'm sorry, but it's like that's not okay. I mean, you can disagree, but
and it's really been fun having some of the folks that I've met sometimes through some words, and that have come to me privately and said, gee, or sent me a friend request, and I'll say, why do you want to be my friend? I don't get it. And they say, well, because I want to get to know you better.
Right.
And I've totally enjoyed those friendships.
Yeah.
It's been great. So
yeah, it's strange, but once again, it's like people when they talk to either one of us and they find out our political views, they automatically think, well, I disagree with them, so I'm not going to be friends with them, or I'm not going to be able to hang with them, or I'm going to delete them. It's like, I don't delete people simply because they disagree with me.
Right.
That's not my style. You don't do that either.
I know, and I find that the more I know about the person's background and their interests, their hobbies, because it's obvious. Everything I do is pretty much I'm an outdoor person. I'm not a girly girl. I get out there and roll in the mud with the best of them, and that's what I look for. Not that I'm not friends with other people that do the girly girl thing, but I just enjoy the outdoors, and that's me, and I blend in pretty well sometimes.
Right. And I think it's great. So yeah.
All right.
So, all right. So anyway, for people that have watched or are watching, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Check out my blog, www.larsonsblog.com. And maybe we'll do more of these. Leta seems like she wants to do more.
I think this was kind of an introductory just to see how we played off of each other, and talking, and it's easier than I thought. And I imagine we could have an agenda. I wouldn't mind having your friends or my friends write in and say what they'd like to hear us talk about. They kind of know how we are.
Well, that would be interesting. And but once again, I mean, we haven't hit on any major subjects. I mean, we just kind of talked about, yeah. So that would be interesting to see how things would go with that.
Yeah, nail down a couple, have an agenda of a sort, and like say, we're going to talk about this today.
Yeah.
I like that. Woo-hoo.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Hey, I might be old, but I'm still there.
All right. So thank you much. Thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.